Good morning, everyone. Hope you can hear me. So the mic is on, yes. Okay, so it's a great pleasure to be here and to work with John and Gershon, Antonio, and Mike on the whole PMRM PBDSC work. I have actually worked with John for about 8 years, joining the OASIS PMRM in 2010. And also the board of OASIS around 2012 or so. So this work, what I really like to say to you this morning is that it's been informed by thousands of papers in the privacy body of work. So we know that, that privacy engineering has come from a lot of different fields. So I'm wearing my academic hat this morning. So I'm also a professor at the university, and I've also worked in privacy research for 18 years now. So with respect to the work and the body of work, we know that privacy understanding hasn't just come from the engineering field or the systems engineering field. We know that has come also from social science and economics, etc. So we have Alessandra Kisti, and we had work with Elisa Bettino and Claudia Diaz, etc., Laurie Craner, etc. And so this work that you see throughout the day is informed by a lot of that work, and we've been standing on the shoulder of giants. So in 1996, just to give you a little history, Smith published a seminal paper on privacy concerns. And 4 of the privacy concerns that he mentioned was around error correction, unauthorized use, secondary use, concerns around secondary use, and data collection. So we see, even from 21 years ago, that work is classic because those concerns still exist today. And of course, we've added some more, and added some more like identity theft. So concern about the risk of financial information is a huge concern for most citizens and employees alike who are managing that particular data. The new technologies now, such as the Internet of Things technologies and sensors, are complicating what we do with respect to managing privacy, and also it will complicate the implementation of the GDPR. Because when you think about IoT and you think about, even being in a room like this, if it was censored all the way around, no one will have the time or the bandwidth to give consent to each one of these sensors, right? As an example. Nobody will really understand how the sensors are manipulating the information, what sort of secondary use, etc. And so we don't have the tools as yet to manage IoT that's coming hard and fast at us. I'm sure there's a lot of work happening around the principles, the privacy by design principles and the GDPR principles, as Mike has just shown you. So that's going to be a very interesting challenge, and we hope that the framework that you will see today from the PMRM will start guiding in that particular situation. And it's one important tool, and we expect that there will be other complementary tools to come along as new technologies come out. So one of the other things that I wanted to talk about too was around this changing landscape, not only with respect to consent and comprehension and confinement, so data minimization and so forth, but choice and the context. So how context changes how you manage privacy. When we look at Anne Kavoukian's first privacy by design principle, which states proactive, not reactive, preventative, not remedial, she documents some sub-principles that speaks to demonstrating leadership and risk management, continuous risk management. So around the demonstrating leadership, I think we have an opportunity now to align strategy with compliance. So what's happening with the new technologies is that we are now having the chance or the opportunity to change definitions across a series of different disciplines. So in the marketing discipline, when we look at brand protection, no longer is brand protection limited to legal protections, just around counterfeiting brand and other types of devaluation. But we should also look at it through the lens of the privacy management practices that we put in place. So if we think about the impact of the breach on brand, we know that it can be significant. We've seen it anecdotally, but now we're starting to see the research work that confirms that there is a definite link between the privacy practices that organizations put in place and brand protection. So actually, security measures and privacy protection measures also are brand protection measures, and they of course are linked to the brand value of an organization. So in thinking about the compliance piece, we can also think about the strategic piece around protecting brand too. When we look at the second privacy by design principles, so that is privacy by default. We see in the sub-principles that's been documented that engineering controls are important. And engineering controls such as limiting collection by the fair and lawful means, collection from third parties, use and disclosure, principles around retention, disposal, and transparency and visibility. And they map very closely to what we're being asked to do under the GDPR as well. Also, when we look at privacy embedded into design, what we see there as the first sub-principles is that it's holistic and integrative. And so that's why when we look at a definition, a privacy engineering definition going forward, one of the things that I would always ask is that we take a very multidisciplinary approach to it, because we will need that in order to interpret and implement for GDPR. So that concludes basically what I wanted to say in terms of the history going back on the battlefield, in that we do have a very, very rich body of literature that this work has been built on. And in going forward, some of the challenges, particularly in the new technologies coming around, particularly the IoT, how we may approach using the frameworks and what new things we still have to develop, because privacy is an ever-changing landscape. Thanks very much. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them.